something of true spiritual maturity is to be able to swim in the pain and the divine at the same time. That's what we're doing today, because we never forget who we are, and yet we can feel and respect those feelings. And with that in mind, I am inviting up Nora's brother Will and her best friends, Emma and Dell. And they are going to sing a song for you called Blue Skies that's written by Dr. Mellon and Scott DeTurk. So come on up.
Blue skies, green trees, there's a place I seize it in my mind. No lies, yes please, I can go there first. I have to find there in the blue skies, green seas, take me back, just sail across the moon, and soon all that will be left is nothing but those blue skies. Blue skies, green trees, there's a place I seize it in my mind. No lies, yes please, I can go there first. I have to find there in the blue skies, green seas, take me back, just sail across the moon, and soon all that will be left is nothing but those blue skies. Blue skies, green seas, take me back, just sail across the moon, and soon all that will be left is nothing but those blue skies. I forgot I was talking. Normally I'm pretty good at speaking off the top of my mind, but I think this circumstance allows some permission to use some notes. So there's a lot of things I keep reminding myself of. You know, there's things you know, but sometimes you need to remind yourself. And one of those things that I believe with the fullest capacity in my heart is that a life well lived is only measured by the extent to which and the capacity for touching other people's lives. And by that definition, my sister lived the most beautiful and fulfilling life. And thanks, y'all. Yeah, throughout our lives, it never ceased to amaze me the amount she was able to maintain a certain level of dedication to our principles. And even when I was in complete doubt of the most basic things, you know, I was raised in this philosophy, but everyone gets doubtful. And even when I was just so done with it, my sister would hold my hand and bring me back to the place I needed to be to get through whatever I was going through. And I'm incredibly grateful for this. And she did that for my whole family. And you know, in her passing, it's really easy to see the places she's not. It's really easy to see the things. What did I say? Let me refer to the notes. It's quite easy to see her absence everywhere, reminders in everything and everyone she touched. but there's another window through which to look, her presence here. In life, my sister could only do so much in a day, but in death, she is limitless. And her ability to touch the lives of others with her immense love and that infectious smile has become unbound by the constraints of physical form. And I know with all my soul that her beautiful heart and all that capacity for love, forgiveness, and kindness that resides therein is now inextricably linked to and alive in all of us. Everyone she's ever held, kissed, laughed with, loved, even though she talked to in merely simple words. I know, and I will continue to remind myself, as everyone should, not to give you advice, but I know that while death appears threatening and bleak, as though it were the absence of hope that typifies the experience, we can't forget that in passing we are given gifts. The gift to infinitely love only, forgive everything, and remember who we are as she will be able to for the rest of our lives. And we carry that with us. And in every time we make the conscious choice to live that philosophy, we get to live with her and through her. Reverend Rita mentioned earlier, too, when we had our prayer circle, that Nora's present here. But I know that she's not just present here in this building, which was another home to her, but she also gets to be present in every person. And it's just a little more comforting when I get to look in people's eyes, and I know I see that. People don't have to say it. There's been a lot of, people reach out, but even in the simple silent moments where someone just stands with me or, is there with me when I need it, you can sit in silence and I get to live with that. So I'm incredibly thankful for that, and I think that's exactly how she'd want to be remembered. So thank you.
Good morning. Never follow children. Last Sunday, as I stood here with Nora, there was a moment, Nick will remember it because he was in the middle of it, where I was telling Nora that I was going to be buying her all new clothes at Christmas and that I would choose them. At which point she said to me something about the fact, she said no, but basically she said, you can choose whatever you want, but at the end of the day, I'm always going to be the me I want to be, not the me you want me to be. And that was the very day she passed. I'm not passed, but that was the day of her accident. And we had a very long day that day because we were together the whole afternoon into the evening till about an hour before her accident. And there was a lot being discussed that day. And the good news is that the last thing she said to me was, I love you, Dad. And I got to say, I love you too. And that was the last thing we got to say to each other. But even if we hadn't said it, I know where she is. But today is really not for me about talking about Nora, because I will have my day to do that, which will be December 22nd here in this sanctuary. But something happened besides that accident. On Sunday night, when I got the phone call from Barbara Shane that our children had been in an accident, and I know Matthew's probably watching, and I send my love to Matthew and to Barbara as he heals, as they heal as a family. When she called me, the call that no parent ever wants to get, many of you have been in workshops with me, and the only thing I've ever said that would be difficult for me was if anything happened to any of my children, that would be the thing that would test me the most, and that I never wanted to be tested with it. So as soon as I got the phone call, it was Emma Curtis Hopkins who rode with me to the hospital, because all I could think to say was, there is but one God, there is but one life, that life is God's life, that life is Nora's life now. And I said it all week, sometimes hours at a time, because there was nothing else I could think to say in the hospital with her. And I feel that Nora left us Sunday night. I feel that that accident took her at that moment. And then in the most loving way, she hung on, giving us time to adjust to it. So that by Thursday, when she passed, Thursday night, who could be ready? No one could be ready, but I was readier. And something happened right after she passed, right when her body passed, and her mother was on one side and I was on the other side, and her other mother and Kevin and Will was in the room. But something happened. I've been there many times when this has happened. Of course, when it's your own child, it's a very different story. But when she passed, I instantly knew the theme for the month, which I hadn't done yet. I knew what it was, and it was rebirth. Can you give me that slide? It was rebirth. It wasn't something maudlin. It wasn't something sad. It was rebirth that came to me. And then the affirmation came as well. I don't do that yet, though. The affirmation came right away, and there I am, 5 minutes, 10 minutes after my daughter's passing, texting the theme and the affirmation to Barbara so that it got here in time. And what I realized was, and what I knew, and I wasn't going to come speak today, but then I thought, no, I have to get up in front of all of you and really let you know that, okay, so I've been tested beyond anything I would. Beyond what I would ever want to be tested. And I did not lose my faith. Everything I have ever said from this stage, I still believe wholeheartedly. None of it gets thrown away just because of the most horrifying thing I could ever imagine. I believe everything I teach, which is why I can get up on this stage and talk to you today. I believe that Nora is God. I believe that life is eternal. I believe our teaching, because while I am broken in a million pieces, there's something that holds all of those pieces. And that's our philosophy. That's our faith. And when I see my son get up on this stage and say what he just said with such clarity, with such grace and such calm and beauty, because I have been with him all week and I know how he feels right now. He's also in a million pieces. But this philosophy that he was born into and grew up as is his solace, is his truth. He believes this as well. And he's right. Nora, if she did it once, she did it a million times, where she would literally, if I was having a hard time, she would throw this science back in my face just when I didn't want to hear it. And she would say something like, Dad, you know the truth. And I'd be like, well, I just don't want to know it right now. And she would just be, well, that's when you got to know it. So I kind of hear her saying all that. That song, Blue Skies, that was written by myself and Scott DeTurk, is from a musical called A Boy Called Lizard. And it was in 2007 at the NoHo Arts Center. Well, Will and Nora were only 8 when that musical happened, and it had some adult themes, so we could not, they couldn't see it. But we let them see the first, third of it, and then I always found a reason why I had to leave for some reason. But they always saw the first third, and Blue Skies is at the top of the show. So Nora constantly asked me to sing it to her so that she could sing harmony. And that was a song we did forever. I would sing it at night, all the time. Well, last week, Saturday, the kids were at their mom's house in the lake, at the lake house, and her room was just a disaster. If you remember the end of the song, every time we got to "You Ain't Seen Nothing Yet," I always sang the line to her, "So you think you finally made your bed?" Because she hadn't. And it was always that moment with her. But the bed was made that day because I had made it. And if you go back and watch the service, you'll see the very interesting moment between us when I sang, "So you think I finally made your bed?" You didn't hear it, but she did, and she was like... Anyway, I cleaned her whole room. In cleaning her whole room, I had to go through all of her stuff. The blessing for me that was done. That was done. Everything was cleaned. Everything that she wanted thrown out was thrown out. That day, she sat with me for 2 hours, getting rid of everything she didn't want anymore. It was all done. All done. And, but there were 2 boxes that I couldn't get to. And I did them, when she wasn't there. No, Saturday when I cleaned it out, there were 2 boxes that I cleaned out, and I found a sheet of paper with the lyrics to Blue Skies and guitar chords so that she could play it herself. Of course, not knowing what I would use it for, but that's why we decided to sing that today. Also because the lyrics, they're a longing from the heart to constantly remember that regardless of what's going on, there's nothing but blue skies. But first I have to get there, to that place in mind where I can remember that. I don't expect to get there very soon, but grief can live alongside truth, and the truth will allow the grief to do what it needs to do. I am so blessed, so lucky, so very lucky to know what I know and to believe what I believe, because it's the only thing that can keep me standing here, knowing this. And I am so grateful for what Will just said about love, how it just never goes away. So I don't know what I'm going to do for the rest of this particular year. I may take some time off, I'm not sure. But I will tell you this. I want to do this in front of you, not just, my husband has to run, go. Did you want to say something? I know this is dangerous to give you the microphone.
I love you all. I have to, doing a show right now, so I actually have to go to work. Bless you all. Thank you for all the support this week. You are an amazing community of friends and family. We love you madly. Thank you. Okay, bye.
So the last thing I want to say, because this will not be a very long service today, is if there was ever a time to understand the power of this teaching, if there was ever a time to understand how thoroughly, vibrantly important it is to have our children learn this teaching, to have our children understand who they are, where they are, this is the time for us to really get it. I know that our family will be okay. I don't think life will ever be the same, but would life have ever been the same anyway? No. Life was always changing. But it is this teaching. It is knowing who we are in any given situation. And right now, I'm a broken man. That's who I am. But I'm God being broken. God can break, but God always knows that being broken doesn't mean I'm not still one with everything. So the reason why I dragged myself in here today is because there have been some emails and some posts that I have seen that have suddenly doubted this teaching. And I cannot let my daughter's death be a reason for anyone to doubt this teaching when she so profoundly believed it. And when I so profoundly believe it, and my son and my family. God is all there is. There is but one life, and that life is God's life. And that life is my life now, that life is your life now, that life is Nora's life now. And while I may not be here to enjoy her presence, that doesn't mean her presence isn't right here. And I know that. So I'm going to give you the affirmation today. Sitting there with her beautiful, beautiful earthly body, and this coming through me, I know it was her parting gift as she left us that day. And I also have to really give respect and honor to her mother, Pat, sitting here, because I have not ever seen such grace and beauty as she walked through this and kept everyone, to the best of her ability, in the right place. So, rebirth. I am reborn with each new day. Everything that happens to us rebirths us. Everything that happens to us brings us a new awareness, a new life. Every morning when I wake up, there's just a moment I forget. And then all of a sudden, the sinking truth comes in that this is a new day, but it's a different kind of new day. So, and I'm grateful to Dr. Jim Lockhart for sending out his post that really did help me a lot. But if you could just say this with me, I am reborn with each new day. I will not make you do it a second time. I am reborn with each new day. I am reborn with each new thing that happens. It's true to say there are no words, although I seem to have found some today. I would ask for a little bit of, I don't mean respect, I would just ask you to be respectful of the fact that I cannot talk to you except from here. Because it's no surprise if you put me in a spotlight, I can find some words to say. But if you get me one-on-one, I don't have that safety net. So I will not be speaking to many people today. Let me decide if there's somebody I want to speak to. And I will get back to that place where I can. But right now, it's very hard. It's very hard because at any moment, I am gone. And I would rather that be on my terms, if that's okay with you all. I love, Kevin said it, I love this community so much. It's only been 1.5 years since we've come together as one community, but this is my family. This is where I knew I had to be today. And we will go through many rebirthings throughout the many, 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 many years ahead. In some senses, I feel that my ministry is just beginning. To be challenged this deeply and to know what I know. Trust me, I'm not going to be quieter. I'm going to be louder about it. So that's all I have to say. Thank you all very much for being here today, and thank you to Reverend Rita for taking this over for me. Thank you.